This is a fabric episode all about double brush poly, single brush poly. All the details, you're going to see a lot of the makes where I've chosen this fabric plus a new one. It'll be very practical if you want to find out more about this type of fabric. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and today is about fabric. I do have quite a few fabric episodes here on this channel covering a wide variety of fabric from knit to woven. I'm going to add this one to my ongoing playlist all about fabric. I think it's really nice to deep dive into a type of fabric so you can understand it better. And you have less chances of making mistakes when you pair types of styles to fabric. Every fabric has its own little special things that sometimes make it amazing for some styles and not so great for others. What we're going to dive into is double brush poly and single brush poly. You sometimes see it as DBP or SBP. That's how I write them on the little charts I make when I describe fabrics that are great for projects. So this is always a polyester, spandex or lycra blend. There's a few composition blends, but most are 95% polyester, 5% spandex, or 96 polyester, 4% spandex. It can vary. I would consider this a lightweight fabric. In GSM would be around 180 to 250 GSM. Translated to ounces would be 5.5 to 7.5 ounce fabric, but they are pretty much similar. What they all have in common is that they stretch horizontally and vertically. Some will stretch more than the others. At least the ones that I've worked with usually stretch the same amount, both horizontally and vertically. Here's the selvage. You can see that horizontally the stretch is amazing. And vertically, it's also amazing, but a little bit less similar. I would say in this case, it's about 70% and then 30% vertically, but there's others that stretch pretty much the same. Now, the very simple difference between double brush poly and single brush poly is where they're brushed. So when you touch this fabric, it feels fuzzy, it feels peachy. If it's nice and fuzzy on the outside, but on the inside, it's nice and smooth, that just means it's a single brush poly because it's just been brushed on the right side of the fabric, on the pretty side of the fabric. There's other ones that have been brushed on both sides. So when you touch it, you can feel the right side of the fabric is nice and fuzzy and the inside as well. This makes it especially warm and cozy in my opinion. Now, all of these fabrics are printed on the right side of the fabric. So whatever color print you have, it's all on the right side, and the wrong side is going to be a light color. It's not that pretty. Now, sometimes you find solids that are the same on both sides, and if your eyesight is struggling, you might struggle to know what is the right side and what is the wrong side. When you have a print, it'll always be printed on the right side, and it's going to be quite contrasting to the wrong side, which is going to be a clear type of white or beige base. So it's always going to be different. Make sure you're happy with that. If your style might show the wrong side a little bit, in my case, sometimes I'm not too happy with that. So I do factor that into my decision making. This is a double brush poly that is the same on both sides. To your eyes, green, green. If you go up closer, you will see the jersey type of weave that would tell you this is the right side. If you're having concerns, just take the edge of the fabric and stretch it. When you stretch it, it's going to curl, and that's going to curl towards the right side of the fabric. This fabric washes really well. You can throw it in the dryer, almost no shrinking. This doesn't mean you don't need to pre-wash your fabric though. I would still pre-wash it because it's pretty filthy where it comes from. It's been sitting in boats. Fabric can get pretty dirty before it gets into your eager hands. And instead of just being impatient and making up a dirty garment, it's better to wash it anyway. When you wash it, this fabric won't bleed, it won't lose its color, so that's good. And over time, it'll stand the test of time, washing and wearing pretty well, keeping the colors vibrant for a very long time. In areas where fabrics would touch, like areas under the arms or in between the legs, the crotch area. But out of all the ones I've ever made, and a lot of my makes I've had for years and years and years, I've never seen peeling. So in theory, it could happen, but it's very unlikely. So it's a fabric that will last a long time. Once you press it, when you're done sewing with it, that will stay. You won't need to press it again. If maybe a little touch up here and there. So any garment you make is great to throw in a suitcase for travel. You won't need to be worried about ironing it every time. Even though there's only 5% spandex, just the way that it's made, it makes it have good recovery. So you can stretch it and it will bounce back. which means it's okay for neckbands. If you're sewing t-shirts, it's okay for cuffs and hembands. It's absolutely fine. You don't need to worry about that if you want to use binding as well. In regards to breathability, this is where it gets a little tricky for some people. It's not the most breathable fabric. So if you have something really fitted to the body, it can hold in the heat. And so that might be amazing if you're cold and you want something warm, but this is definitely not suitable for people that can't regulate their own temperature or can't create an action to take the garment off or something like that. So we're talking about babies, toddlers, little kids, maybe some elderly people as well. It's not recommended because it's just not that breathable. If you have a conscience about how you feel, you should be okay. Now, if your garment is semi-loose and there's airflow coming in from the bottom of the hem or through here, you would be okay. Although it depends on where you live and how hot you are. This is always going to be super personal. I live in Brazil and the weather here gets really, really, really hot and humid. So this is not a fabric I would wear in the peak of summer. Spring, autumn and winter, it's amazing. In fact, one of the tops I made in double brush poly has a hood, and I wear that for sleeping quite a lot in the winter, and it's just the best thing ever. It's beautiful, but I also wear it to sleep, and that makes it super versatile for me. I rummaged around in my wardrobe and found 12 garments made out of double brush poly or single brush poly. This is a fabric that's not easy to find in Brazil. Whenever I have found an odd piece here and there, I always snatch it up because I always think it's a great find. It was very easy to find in Bolivia because it got really cold over there. Most of the double brush poly I've ever bought has been in Chile, which also gets pretty cold. So single brush poly, double brush poly, I have a mix of both, and I've made garments out of both fabrics. I will be showing you all of these on and explaining different little things that made me choose the fabric and why I think this fabric is appropriate for that. So you'll see 12 makes that I have already got, and I've made number 13, which is a brand new one. This is using the Willow wrap dress from Love Notions. This is just a wrap bodice with an A-line skirt, so it's not a real wrap dress. You can pull it on over your head, and you can choose how high you want this neckline to be. There's little pleats gathering details on the side, very nice sleeve options, a little flounce over here. It's a beautiful dress I've made many times, and I've decided to make a winter version. This is the Feature Friday pattern for today, Friday at Love Notions. Means it's over 50% off. It's great value. It's a dress that looks amazing on everyone. I will leave you my affiliate link at the top of the comment section pinned, also in the description box, easy to find. If you do click on it and end up purchasing, you don't pay anything extra. It just supports the work that I do here on YouTube because I get a small commission back from Tammy, who owns Love Notions. Check out my newest dress made with double brush poly, so it's fuzzy on the inside and the outside. It's supposed to be a winter dress. I've got long sleeves. Willow wrap dress from Love Notions. It's really, really pretty. I've made all of mine in prints before, and this is the first time I make it in a solid. I think it's really nice, and I'm really gonna enjoy it for now because I'm actually in winter as we speak. Super lovely. I've got the skirt just at the knee. I've already done the fitting here. The waist hits my waist. This one overlaps on that side, and I chose the pleated version. Although instead of the pleats, I gathered it instead, and I think that's really cute, easy to do. And with the solid, you can actually see it. I've done this before in a rayon spandex print. You couldn't see the detail at all. Now you might see that I have a seam on the back, like princess seams. I did that just because I wasn't going to be able to cut it any other way. So it doesn't affect the fit, it's just extra seams there. And my back is double. Now this is a winter dress, and I happen to love this higher crossover. It's very, very high. You can see it's not going to make me too cold. I can put on a scarf as well. The low cut option I think is more for hot weather. But even then, I've made all of my dresses like, I just like this higher crossover. It's really nice. Long sleeves, which is a new thing, and I really love it. I have a double layer on the back. I chose to do a neckband, which is quite long because it goes from here, down here, and all the way over here. And this is a leather look jersey in red. I thought it was going to be a nice little detail. It's the only place where this knit was used in this dress, and I love it. A dress like this was the perfect choice for double brush poly. Single brush poly would have been okay as well, but I would rather use that for short sleeve things and things for spring. This is 100% a winter dress for me, and that's why I did the long sleeves. Super love it. and this is amazing. Got this new Willow wrap dress with my cape. This is an amazing cape I made at the end of last year. It's got red in it, so it's perfect. And I always knew I wanted a red dress to go with it. So this is how I'll be wearing it when it gets cold. I don't need much more than that for how cold it gets here. So this is great with boots. I absolutely love it. The length of the dress is perfect under the cape. The dress is fitted. I don't need a belt under there, nothing. It's very simple to get dressed. This is a double brush poly. This is the La Bella Donna from Love Notions, and it's a winter version for me. It's got long sleeves. It's super, super cozy on the inside as well. This is an extra large, so it's feeling a little oversized right now, but no worries. I mainly use this for lounging, so it's absolutely perfect. Nice and loose, so I'm not going to overheat here. I think I'll regulate well my temperature because I'll have airflow going in through the sides and the bottom. Now, this is one of the few garments that I have that's good enough to go outside, but also sleep in. I have to confess, I use this for sleeping quite a lot, and it's because I get cold and this has a hoodie option. And so I sleep like this for a while and it keeps me really, really cozy. Really love it because it's loose. Again, it's not tight, it lets the air go in, and so I'm not overheating my head when I'm sleeping. And one thing, usually when you have a print like this, the wrong side is white or not that nice. So because the inside of the hood always shows, I use the lining option for this hood, which is in the pattern. And so I used rayon spandex on the inside. So it makes it nicer, and it's something I would always do if I'm concerned that the wrong side is going to be ugly, and who wants to see that? So this is beautiful, perfect. I wish I had 10 of these because when it gets cold here, it gets really cold. I actually have fabric left over and I plan to make a pair of lounge pants, and then I'll just have a full-blown lounge set, which is great. Here I have a set in the same single brush poly. It's a really nice print. It might look like a dress, but it's not. It's just a top. It's a knit top, the La Bella Donna from Love Notions, and the Cebu skirt from Love Notions. It has a lot of options, but this one has the flounce. So the top is nice and loose. The skirt is more fitted. That's why I have a layer of lining on the inside of the skirt. Yoga waistband with another fabric because I prefer to use something with more spandex for a yoga waistband. I have cotton spandex there. I don't think that double brush poly works amazingly well for a yoga waistband. It's just not heavy enough. So I'm never going to tuck in. This top is always going to cover that waistband. I don't mind it being contrasting. They were very easy to sew. I think the perfect choice. I've made this in 2020 and the colors are vibrant, amazing. I barely ever have to press it slightly. It's a great little set to wear. That was really enjoyable to make with this type of fabric. Dolman sleeve, nice and loose. Very nice. Another double brush poly in this plaid print, which I usually don't use, but it's perfect double brush poly. I made it quite a few years ago and the colors have stayed the same, vibrant, no peeling, no bleeding of the colors. It's just right. And let me show you some details here that are super easy to sew. You can see the seam here and the seam there. I've cut it on the bias, which is perfect. Double brush poly usually stretches the same both ways. So nothing is deforming. And then I get this beautiful effect on the center back seam there, which aesthetically is very pleasing. This top is called Tidal from Love Notions. It also has a dress version that I've also made in double brush poly, and it's never disappointed me, the type of quality and how it looks down the line. I have made other ones in the past out of rayon spandex. The same time I made these, and those are gone. They just aged terribly, but doesn't happen with this one. The dress, this is single brush poly. You can see it's fit and flare. The dress is A-line. There's a bit of volume, but not extreme. Although you could go all the way to full circle, it would look amazing. It's just that this is the silhouette that I mainly make. And again, very, very easy to work with this fabric. There's some seams right here. There's a center back seam for shaping. And you can see how it flows. Single brush poly is not that hot. A fitted bodice, but then I have a bit of space at the waist and it's looser at the bottom, which means I'll get nice airflow and I won't be getting too hot. Because this is single brush poly and the inside is not brushed, it feels actually cool to the skin. This is perfect for spring, autumn, and even winter. I could just put layers underneath, tights and boots and a big jacket and I would be absolutely fine. Spring and autumn as well. This could be a little warm for full-blown summer, but it's a lovely dress and you can see it takes negative ease around this area beautifully, and also it works really well with the volume at the bottom. This is the first Bali top from Greenstyle that I made. It's a really nice black and purple print, super, super cute. And the details of this one were really easy to manage. You can see it's a pretty fitted top. No worries, there's a lot of stretch here. There is some negative ease in this top, and in the center front, we have some ruching details. Super lovely. This is a double brush poly. It can get pretty warm in the summer because it's so fitted and it's brushed on the inside. So I see this more as an autumn winter type of top. It's okay, I can put jackets on it. I can layer on top because it doesn't create bulk under your clothes. Another gorgeous double brush poly top. This silhouette is more fitted, but it's perfect. You can take negative ease with this fabric. And this is great for layering under things like a pinafore, something like that. You'd be perfect. And it's a really nice print. I really enjoyed this one. I do have one in short sleeves as well. I happen to run low on tops like this because the weather is mainly hot over here. But when it does get cold, like right now, I really appreciate having something warm like this that can go perfect under a jacket without creating bulk. Nice and long sleeves. It's just right. It's just perfect. And this is a beautiful little top that worked really well with this type of fabric. I love these pants. This is single brush poly. Wider style, relaxed, but sort of fitted at the waist and upper hip area. These are the Restore pants from Greenstyle. I love the print. As always with a print, I want to pair it up with something solid, and I think the white top goes beautifully over it. There's a little bit of white in the print, and you can see the drape is lovely because the inside is not brushed. It doesn't feel particularly hot, and the air goes in through the pants. So I have worn this in spring, late summer, and it's been okay. Although I think I wouldn't wear them in full on summer. This is a charm cami from Sinclair Patterns that you might have seen yesterday. And it's got super wide straps, lovely little ruffle details. I think it goes perfectly over these wide leg pants because it's not too short, it's not too long, it's not tight. It's got the right amount of ease to not look frumpy. So I think these two go together perfectly. But let me show you something about the waistband here that is particular just because of my fabric choice. I don't think double brush poly or single brush poly is strong enough for a yoga waistband. This is a curved waistband. It's got an outer layer and an inner layer. But because sometimes I do a half tuck, I didn't want to do anything contrasting. So the inside layer is a heavier fabric, nice cotton lycra with great recovery, lots of spandex. And that's what gives the waistband the firmness that it needs to stay up without falling down. So that's a trick for waistbands. I would rather put something heavier that would hold up inside while leaving the pretty fabric here on the outside so that it looks nice. This is another dress in single brush poly with a beautiful print, fit and flare. It's got a wrap type bodice, but it's fixed here at the waist seam, and the skirt is just a regular A-line skirt. Now, this bodice has several features that drape. Where the bodice wraps, there's several pleats right here. The neckline also drapes over each other as they cross over. The finish is just like this, and it's folded to the inside, so there's nothing rigid like a facing in there. And it's perfect for a double brush poly that works really well with drape. I think a cotton or something more structured wouldn't look great with this one, but this is amazing. Got a grown-on sleeve type dolman situation right there. That's very easy to manage. Little armbands here to bring it in. Super cute dress, and I think this fabric choice really works well. I have the back of this dress lined, and I think lining the back at least is the bare minimum to make the dress look better when the fabric is lightweight like this one. So another dress for spring, autumn, and winter, but not for full-on summer, at least for my summer. Maybe your summer is mild and you would be okay, but still lots of airflow going through the skirt. It's not a stuffy dress. And I've also got ventilation because the neckline is a little lower, but not too low. This is a Dakota dress from Sinclair Patterns I made at the beginning of the year. You can see it's got a pretty full gathered skirt onto this fitted bodice. Drapes beautifully. It's so nice. This is a single brush poly. Because the bodice is so fitted, I have lined it on the back, and I've used a technique that encloses the shoulder seams and the side seams, so it's super soft and comfortable on the inside. No worries with the gathers. It was very easy to manage. It didn't take a long time. The fabric wasn't sliding everywhere, and it was a great choice for this beautiful dress. I love this print. I usually find such beautiful prints in this type of fabric, and I'm very happy with my choice. All the neckline and armholes are finished with binding that's folded to the inside of the dress. Very easy to manage as well. The button placket piece has fusible interfacing, and I didn't have any problems with doing this type of detail with this type of fabric as well. This is the Valley skater dress from Sinclair Patterns. This is actually a free pattern, and you can see the skirt is super full. This is a full circle skirt, pretty fitted bodice, a lot of negative E's. This is a bodice that I lined completely front and back because I felt the fabric was lightweight. It's a lighter weight of single brush poly that I've used. Then it makes it super, super drapey. You can see there's pleats there. The neckline, I've done contrast binding as well because I didn't find the fabric had enough strength for that. It's rare that it's not okay, but in this case, I felt it was better to do something contrasting with an athletic knit, had more spandex, more recovery, and that was going to be better for this dress. So this is an exception, a lighter type of single brush poly, but amazingly beautiful. This is a cute dress I made in 2017. I cloned it from a ready-to-wear dress. Double brush poly, it's got a band underneath here. It's like an empire bodice, so it's fully lined. Wraps over here quite low, so I have a pin, and it's beautiful. It's got an A-line skirt. Now there is one problem. This is a wrap skirt, but it's a really safe one because it's caught on both sides and it wraps a lot. It just gives you that tulip shape. But because this is double brush poly, it's brushed here, it sticks to this one and it just doesn't drape nicely and it sticks to each other. So when I look, it does stick and it affects the drape. So a better choice would have been a single brush poly, and then this would have another flow, another look. Just something to think about if you have something overlapping like this. Still nothing terrible, but it can happen. Now, there's one style of bottoms I know I'm not going to sew with this type of fabrics, and that is leggings. I just prefer performance athletic knits. I think they perform so much better. As I mentioned, the breathability problem. I'm someone that when I work out sweats buckets. I seriously overheat. So I would rather sew leggings with performance fabrics rather than using double brush poly, although I know a lot of people enjoy this type of fabric for leggings. I'm not one of these people, but that's just my personal preference. You could technically sew leggings here. I would just stabilize the top of the waistband with elastic on the inside because I don't think the fabric is that amazing for a pull-up stretch waistband. Now, don't think this is just a little fashion show. It's not. We're also going to see particular things about sewing and what you can encounter because I think that is very practical. So we'll see a lot of practical things. You have lots of images here, all very, very hands-on. You're going to see exactly what I'm doing. One thing about cutting, if you're using single brush poly and you place them wrong sides together, they're going to slide a little bit. It's going to be slippery and it might make cutting difficult. So I would suggest you fold the fabric right sides together so that the fuzzy side is next to each other and sticks to each other. And that will make the cutting so much easier. I recommend a rotary blade. It's going to be so much easier to just zip through and cut through the layers rather than using a scissors. A scissors will work, but the rotary cutter is going to be so much better. If you already have determined what is the right side and what is the wrong side, I would just make little chalk marks on the wrong side on all the pieces so you don't end up getting confused. Our eyesight might fail us. When you're in the cutting stage, just go ahead and make lines on the wrong side and you won't make a mistake. This is a jersey, so you need a ballpoint needle so you don't end up ripping into your fabric. Don't use the needles that you use for wovens that are super sharp. A jersey needle will be absolutely fine. Then the size of it just depends on the project. I tend to stick to 80 or 90 just because sometimes I'm dealing with gathers and things like that. So 80 or 90 is going to be okay. I think 70 would be too fine. For most garments that have simple construction, you can sew these seams directly on the serger. That's perfect. It is a stretch stitch, so that is absolutely fine. You can also sew little tricky areas on the sewing machine. There's no problem there. When I'm doing some seams on the sewing machine, I use a narrow zigzag, which looks almost like a straight stitch. And, you know, if you have the V point of a neckband or if you have a short collar where you have to sew in a corner, there are just some techniques that are just not best done directly on the serger. So be open minded to that. Don't just assume that because you're working with the double brush poly or the single brush poly, everything's going to be on the serger. you are perfectly able to use your sewing machine for some steps as well. Now, it depends on the fabric. A lot of it can roll and it can be very annoying if you're stacking up layers like you're joining a bodice to a skirt. You can find both are trying to roll to the right side on both sides. So all I've done is just hand based right on the edge to try to eliminate that roll, and then I can serge. That's how I've dealt with it rather than just pushing through and hoping for the best. Could end up looking pretty wonky if you just hope for the best and try to surge over that rolled section. It's not good. Now, if you're sewing a V neckband or a rounded neckband, you can find it's a little easier than other fabrics, and it's because all these layers have that fuzzy feel, that peachy side that sort of stick to each other. Here I'm serging the band onto the neckline, right sides together, and I'm stretching slightly every quarter because the band is slightly shorter than the neckline. This fabric is fairly easy to work with. The 4 pins are enough. The raw edges stay together. There's no fabric sliding, so it's actually a delight. So it's really easy to use less pins. It's really easy to keep all the edges together. So you'll find that you have a pretty pleasant experience with this fabric compared to ITY and other ones that are slippery when working with them. You know, this is not slippery on the right side, which is the fabric that you have together when you're sewing neckbands. The same if you have slanted pockets and you have to sew a pocket band to keep it next to you. You need the stitch to stretch as you move. So I'm doing a narrow zigzag. That is my zigzag setting on this machine. It's going to look almost like a straight stitch, and that is my stitch length. And the seam allowance is 3/8 of an inch here. So if you want to, you can go ahead and serge this. This is going to be inside. No one's ever going to see it. It's not going to unravel. So if you don't want to serge that, you don't really have to. This fabric doesn't press amazingly flat, so you might end up top stitching a few of the seams flat. What I do is use a blind hem presser foot that's adjustable, and I use a narrow zigzag that works perfectly fine, and I can edge stitch very neatly to keep my seams flat. That narrow zigzag allows stretch, so it works perfectly fine. I'm just going to top stitch this right there. There are many ways you can top stitch. You can use a twin needle or stretch stitch. I'm just going to use the same narrow zigzag I've been using before. So that narrow zigzag almost looks like a straight stitch. It keeps it nice and flat. It also allows this to stretch and move as I live my life. Details like gathers on the shoulders, or if you have a simple bodice with a gathered skirt at the bottom, it's going to be very easy to work with. You're not going to be struggling here. Remember, this fabric sort of sticks to each other. So when you have to gather and then sew everything together, it's not going to be sliding all over the place like other fabrics. So I think that's great. And because it's a drapey fabric, the gathers are always going to look amazing. Just serge the edge there, neaten it up, folded it in, and hand basted it. I am sewing from the right side of the fabric, so I do want that folded edge to stay neat under there. And that's the best way I know how to control that. And then I've just got a twin needle here. I've got 2 threads just threaded normally, and then you have 2 threads coming out there. There's nothing different, and you just thread one through one needle and one through the other needle. This is what I'm using, a Schmetz needle. It is a twin needle for stretch, and the distance between the needles is 2.5 millimeters. That's what I like, and it's quite a small needle, 75, because I am working with a lightweight knit. Once you're done, or while you're sewing, if you feel like you need to go and press some seams, remember to use very low settings on your iron. It can definitely burn. I have done that in the past. Years ago, I got a hole, and yeah, that was not cool. So don't go ahead and act like this is a linen or a cotton where you can throw all the heat on it. Just keep it low, keep it medium, throw some steam on it, and it'll be perfectly okay. What I want to talk about next is lining. This is something that I like to do. You won't see this in pattern instructions. And when you have a fitted bodice with a skirt that's attached, I like to line this bodice partially or the whole thing. Just depends. So if it's a wrap bodice on the front, I probably won't line the front, but I will line the back. There's 2 very easy ways to line the back. One is just to place 2 layers right on top of each other, wrong sides together. This is the back piece of the dress, and I've actually cut another layer so that I can treat this as one piece, but it's going to be 2 layers. It's very thin. So this layer here was cut on the fold, and that will be the one that you see on the outside of the dress. And to line the back, I've cut an extra one from
bits of the sides of the fabric, and I do have a sneaky seam in the center back, but it won't be seen because this is the side that's going to go inside of the dress. I'm just going to pin these two together and just pretend it's just one back piece in the way that I'm going to use it to sew it to the dress. Normal, I'm not going to change anything. It's just that I'll have two layers on top of each other.
So after you've basted the piece all the way around, just pretend it's one piece and keep working with it. Totally acceptable. You're going to have two layers on the back, which is going to look much nicer. It's going to feel more supportive and hopefully hide the bra strap lines and silhouettes that you get there. So I like doing that. So there's a more refined way to line the back that encloses shoulder seams and side seams. There's also ways to line the whole bodice, and I have a whole video showing you 4 ways to line knit bodices. So this is how that content looks like. Have a look at that. Most of the dresses you would have seen when I showed you what I've made with double brush poly have either partially or fully lined bodices, and I think it makes a huge difference. I didn't want to haul them all the way from the second floor to outside, so I'm going to show you them quickly. They're on the table just so you know what I have and just general plans of what I have for them, not specific plans. But you can see I have quite a variety of single brush poly and double brush poly. I have 11 pieces of fabric here. They don't all fit in the frame, so I'm going to shift the camera a little bit. But these 4 that I have right here are my single brush polys. This is what I have left over from making my title dress. I have quite a lot of this one, single brush poly. So I plan to make wide leg pants with this one, either the Restore from Greenstyle that you saw, or I think the wide palazzo pants from Pattern Emporium would be amazing. Being black and white will be amazing. Now this is a print. It's got lots of purple tones. This would be great for a dress. The Willow would have been amazing with it as well. I just didn't choose it this time, but it's lovely. Now this one, I bought it quite a while back. It's a really drapey fabric. What I'm not liking with this one are the red dots for some reason. I liked it when I bought it, but now they disturb me a little bit. It's nice. It'll make a nice dress. I'll just try to ignore those red dots. This is the leftover I have from making the Restore pants from Greenstyle. It's really, really nice. And I have enough for a top. Any top will do. You can see lots of tops can work with this fabric. Here are all the double brush polys. Now this one's really funny. It's got antlers and deers and stuff. I would not want to make a garment to wear outside, so I bought this exclusively for loungewear and pajamas. Check out those antlers. I like the colors. I like everything. I just find that the print is a little bit too novelty for me. I'm a bit more traditional. Brushed on the inside, very nice and warm. So that will be pajamas. This one has a large scale print with diagonal features, so it's squares, but they're printed to be like this. That's really nice. This would make an amazing top as well. This is a type of print I wouldn't want to have too many seams in it, so something simple would be great with that one. Very nice. It's got little stripes. They're printed vertically, so this is the selvage here, so they're not meant to be like that. They're meant to be vertical, which is hard to find. The wrong side, very contrasting, but very nice and brushed. So I don't know what this could be. I also see a hoodie, some type of top with a hood that would be really cozy and would match any type of bottom. Now check this out. I still have so much of this leopard snake mix that I used to make my La Belladonna hoodie that I used to sleep in a lot. So a pair of pleats to meet you pants would be amazing to go with it as a lounge set, but they would also look cute to go out in. So this is amazing. Another similar one is this leopard. This is just fully leopard. The same type of colors, the same type of feel, very nice quality. I can just imagine a long dress for the winter with a hood, something like this. I don't know, it would be amazing. And then I know I bought this one to make pajamas. I found this one in the summer just recently here in Brazil, which was rare because it's hard to find this fabric. But I want to make my son a pajama top and myself a pajama top with this one. I think would look really, really cute. Love the plaid. And then this green is just a green. And this is the one that is exactly the same as the red one that I used to make my Willow wrap dress. I hope you enjoyed this fabric episode. Don't forget to check out the Willow wrap dress at Love Notions. I love my double brush poly version in red. It's amazing. I'm very happy to have it. And I'll be wearing it now. I'm in winter. I'm wearing a sweater. It is absolutely freezing here. and I'm going to enjoy my dress very soon. It's really rare for me to have a long sleeve dress, so this was a good decision for me. That's all from me. Have an amazing weekend. See you soon. Bye.